So shine, so shine, shine bright. So shine, so shine, shine bright. So shine, so shine, shine your light. So shine, so shine, shine your light.
Welcome to this Soul Shine Solstice event encore, where we are holding an activation daily through January 4th. Today, as we celebrate the holiday of Christmas and Christ consciousness, we hear from Reverend Devi Grace. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to this very special occasion for illuminating the eternal tree of life, Source Covenant. I am your guide, Reverend Devi Grace, with Divine Union Academy and also the Divine Union Foundation steward for the planet on this beautiful Christmas Eve. And tonight is a journey of exploration, for we are still in the radiance of the winter solstice just 3 days ago, and also being enveloped and embraced by the more ancient and ancestral holiday of Yuletide, the 12 days of Yuletide, where we got the 12 days of Christmas. And so I am your messenger for these extremely benevolent high frequencies that are coming through. They have always been a part of the planetary Kathara grids for millions and millions of years. And now humanity is reclaiming and remembering and recalling what already dwells underneath our feet in that beautiful gold frequency that illuminates all of her life-generating pathways. And so as we are going through our embodied awakening, Gaia, this beautiful Mother Earth, is guiding and directing us in this biological ascension process that other messengers have referred to as inscension. And so I am extremely visceral. I love bringing through the somatic aspects for you, as well as the shamanic, as well as the extremely esoteric. So for those of you that have journeyed with me before, know that I always begin with that solid foundation of wisdom and mutual shared awareness. There are other walk-ins on the planet besides myself that are bringing through these codexes and codices and codes, for this is a collective endeavor to bring this altar back to the human race so that we have a direct and personal purity of that original source connection through these evolutionary geometries, which are obviously connected to that original promise that the Earth star of this planet, gifted us all even before we arrived. So think of this also as the divine child inside of you that's taking this pilgrimage with me. So many children this night are in eager anticipation for the visit from Saint Nick or Santa Claus, and in their youthful innocence, they have all of this wonder and awe that is just fluttering in their hearts. So may this also reach deeply through that adult, spiritual adult inside of you, to the core of that magical or divine child, because this is quite a gift from the Mother, Father, Source code energies. And this is one of those vertical alignments, excuse me, that brings the frequency and the vibration of the ongoing moment of creation down into our blood and our bones and our organs and our tissues and our cell structures and our atoms. And so as I take you through this overview, please allow the words to just wash through your body, because it's a brief introduction, and by no means are you meant to follow all of the terminology. There may be some new verbiage that you'll be coming across, and so just allow it to plant those seeds, like I said, of expanded awareness, so that you have it as a resource when we go into the higher invocations and convocations. And after I take you through this scaffolding, right, so you can see the overlay on your body, then we'll prepare ourselves for that exploration of what this means for you in a very intimate and personal way. So I am your guide. However, how it lands for each and every one of you is going to be different. And it's so perfect that it's being presented right as we complete 2024 and head soon into the 2025 cycle. And it can marinate, right? Or continue to reverberate through your organs and your molecular structures. And a lot of this will also seep into your atoms when you sleep, while you're resting during the dream cycle. So by no means are you required to absorb it all in the first round. Please be reassured that you can oftentimes just let it germinate, shall we say, for a few days. And then if you're so inspired, you can revisit that meditation section and fast forward and re-listen to it again, which most people have to, because it's coming in from such a high vibration that is so close to source consciousness that the framework may not be exactly familiar to you at first. So please do give it room, shall we say, and space to gently and gradually make friends with you. And with an entry of this nature, there will also require what we would call a recalibration or a space for reentry. So then there will be room for you to come back in and reorient. And then I always end with what we would call practical applications or suggestions for continued ceremonies to help it anchor and ground with the natural world around you so that you can seed into your root system, the very pinnacle of this crystal spiral, swimming and dancing and playing through your body as it naturally begins to interact with the wildness of the natural world around you. All of this is predicated, of course, on nature's principles. So you are indeed being blessed by universal law and also cosmic order through the entirety of this presentation. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen, and some of these pictures are of the actual schematics, and some of them, a couple of them, are some artworks of the more ancient trees that the generations in years past have held and honored on these special days. And a lot of this is in the world traditions with the world tree or the great tree or the original tree of grace, as I love to say it. So here we go. So in this moment, as you see this beautiful artwork that was designed by another starseed sister of mine, that there are 12 spheres that are emanating through this diamond crystalline body. And this is a pictorial representation of maybe a flash or an image that reminds you of this source covenant, that this is part of the original blueprint of all creation, and it's already been pulsating in the heart womb of all that is. And today, perhaps, is maybe your initial opportunity to join with this song line, shall we say, all the way back to eternal first creation. And the first walk-in who really brought this to the planet was a woman by the name of Asheana Dean, or Aasha, and she referred to this as the Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order, and this is often known as the source spiral technology. So if you look at this other beautiful artwork, you can see that eternal life lotus, and then you can see the Cathara grid that's placed on the inside of it. And then you can see how it's transposed onto the beauty of the forest, the woodlands, the alpine tree families, and then of course underneath that are crystal kingdoms deep within body of the earth, so that all levels of life, of course, are vibrating and singing and celebrating this cohesion and coherence that the rest of the cosmos is predominantly living inside of. And the primary distinction that really opens the gateways for you and welcomes you into this temple is the graduation from biwave to triwave. As you can see here, you have the Vesica Pisces on the left, and this emergence of the return of the Triveka, which is incorporating that sacred feminine aspect, right? and the sacred masculine aspect, and then the unity of their merged expression coming together, or the electricity and the magnetism and the plasma that comes together. And so she said it's ascending from a closed source to an open source system, because it has that open loop or that third wave or that tri-wave that always connects back to origins. So you have it flashing in these two scalar waves, right? The masculine and the feminine. And then there's always that central point of unity from which the two emerged. So there's that still point or that Zen confluence that always keeps it stable. And so that is your fundamental unit of the entire emergence into this base 12 system. This quote is from Dr. Jerry Rivera, who started with the quantum Rasha systems, which is a scientific and mathematics and physics application of what Ashiana Dean taught. And I believe they trained out in Florida for many, many years, starting back in 2007. So he's extremely seasoned. And he put it that the base 12 code of eternal life encryption. Ooh. Just let those words sink in, of that eternal life encryption is expressed as a perpetual self-regeneration, self-regenerative expansion of energy with no loss of quantum. That's because it's in the tri-wave. The base 12 code source spiral quantum expansion sequence is based upon the exponentiation of energy. We'll be able to see that in the next picture here that's down below. And that's through, of course, multiplications inside of that trivecca, rather than consumption, which you'll see in some of the older systems of the Fibonacci sequence. Therefore, it's not 369. It truly is a 36912. This is the original source spiral, base 12 mathematics, numerical sequence, and expansion formula, distinctive to internal quantum self-regeneration, also known as bioregenesis. So this is part of that lineage. For those of you that have studied with him or have heard of him. And so this is those gold and silver lines of the masculine and feminine energies. And as you can see, right, creates that eternal life lotus. So it's a very different pattern when it starts to iterate. It's always connected in that more of a stargate formation that's pure and pristine. This is also referred to, as I was saying earlier, the original 12 sphere tree of life. So that's that source covenant with this template of the 12 vortexes of consciousness, all harmonized together, directing us to go all the way back to the source of all that is. And it's languaged as the word Kathara, which refers to the core structure of the unified morphogenetic fields, holographic templates of sound and light and scalar waves that serve as the blueprints on which matter manifests. In the coding of the sound and the vibration of the spoken word, it's Ka, which is light, Tha, which is sound, and Ra, which is one. Ka, Tha, Ra, light sound of the one. It's also known as the Christ grid, and it is the first level of creation and the closest to source, right? So when that emanation emerges from primordial origins, it's the first original tree of life in these Kathara grids, as they are referred to as a larger body of consciousness. And things are built upon the mathematical programming of the Christ grid, as referred to as the Christos, right? This is very much the galactic and the interstellar that's coming in. What this means is that they have the ability to perpetually self-regenerate. And it means that they have an open conduit of circulation of consciousness and life force energy between the manifestation fields and God source directly. So they are eternal life as opposed to finite life. This is a tri-wave, like I mentioned before. And the crystal Christos architecture is that which allows the synchronic phasing of the inner and the outer and the in-between currents of energy, like I was saying, the mother and the father and the unified divine union currents of energy to be inhaled and exhaled, circulating this eternal life spark of creation throughout the entire organism. So that's what we're going to be experiencing together. And of course, this is a direct quote from Oceana herself. And so this is an image of those 12 spheres known as that Kathara grid. So these all can intersect with each other and there's no gaps. But that is a more advanced conversation for another day. But one of the beauties of having the 12 spheres is their points of interconnectedness with each other, and they create a really exquisite lattice that is 100% unified in all of its points of connection. It's really quite elegant. And so this last quote comes from another walk-in, Lisa Renee. She started energetic synthesis and she studied with Oceana at the same time that Jerry Rivera did, also in Florida. She calls it the core manifestation body foundation. The structure of the macrocosmic universal tree of life is replicated within the microcosmic personal tree of life inside of the individual, your 12 tree grid. Individual human anatomy manifests upon and within the multidimensional layers instructed by the core manifestation template, the tree of life, which is the light body architecture. Every aspect of the universal creation and life spiral are designed and instructed through these blueprint Partakai structures, and learning to travel consciously through the universal tree of life as the pathway to personal sovereignty and freedom. They're also known as the freedom codes. Intelligence bodies create the blueprint morphogenetic fields of all creation. So that extends all the way, right, to all those spiral galaxies and also to, every star system that's 12th dimension, 13th, 14th, 15th dimension and beyond, as well as the supercluster that we're all inside of, which of course is that Laniakea, huge, massive structure in which we all reside. That's also a base 12 template. So it is a base 12 template or blueprint, and therefore it culminates in the crystal spiral with the cosmic Christ intelligence, which is nested inside of this 1314D universal time matrix. So one of those images that she was talking about is then the scaffolding of how this initiates itself inside of you. Like she said, from the macrocosm to the microcosm. And the first point is all the way down, and of course, the heart womb of the whole planet. So, base of that tree is the core womb of our planet. So you have that 12 sphere structure that then perfectly maps itself onto our own bodies. And we'll be revisiting that a little bit later in our pilgrimage. So this is from the whole foundation that she created. And it states that eternal life matrices and energy flows are based upon source spiral technology, which includes this quantum source spiral expansion mathematics, and originate from the lotus of life source spiral. So these are a lot of clean, pure, pristine portals and stargates to the real, as we say. And the original spiral of creation, this crystal architecture, again, is self-perpetuating, self-regenerating, right? That bioregenesis energy, and inner sustaining. Its math is represented by including that 0 point, or going to the 0 in the numerical sequence, which is going back home, which is going back to source point, which is going back to the first emergence from the void. Therefore, the value of 0 represents the central point of union, or 0 point with the Mother, Father, God, Source, creation. So that's what makes this entire recollection so magical, because once it begins firing up inside of your system, and as it catches speed and momentum, the fact that it's always returning in that flashing universe at every single turn in the spiral to source point is spectacular. And so that's why we can trust it as always coming from this eternal fractal that gives us back that, as we say in the other languages, portian tosheti shia zataktaktish ananaite pe orkotoshodi fiqotaito alalaktanash, the physical receivership of your birthright. Vokoto mandal laktish arakatesian tantanas. So when you see it in its right, drop of the core essence that keeps emanating again and again and again and again. This is one of my favorite images from Divine Tools. And of course, we're bringing this celestial awareness and wisdom into the celebration of the Yule Tree of Life that happens at this time of year. So Yule is a traditional holiday holding roots in various Northern European traditions, and is a tradition that also, of course, dates back to the ancient Celts. It was originally a part of their winter solstice celebration, which honored the sun god and marked the shortest day of the year, the longest night of the year, and the pregnancy of the Divine Mother's womb. And the Yule tree, which for them represented the everlasting world tree to the ancestors, was brought here to America by German immigrants in the 1600s in order to bring good luck into people's homes. And it's been thus a part of the American Christmas celebration ever since. And you know, you hear the Christmas songs with Yuletide cheer, that's where that comes from. And traditionally, Yuletide lasted for 12 days from the winter solstice forward And Yule is a time of great sacred symbolism and power, of course, for life, rebirth, fertility, prosperity, and renewal. So this is a beautiful painting that was done of what it would have looked like in like Norway or Scandinavia, this holy night where they would gather in sacred circle and sing to the ancestors and sing praise and honor to all creation under the Yule tree. So some of you will get memories when you see artwork like this of like, I do recollect, right, what that felt like. And so there's this overlay of honoring the Yule tree at this time of year and allowing that to be a literal gateway or a springboard into the eternal tree of life, because it's this internal illumination of these frequencies within your cellular matrix, which allows this infinite infrastructure to then take up residence in our finite bodies, which is the mystery of the marriage of earth with the heavens. And of course, we said we were going to light up your Christ code with the original quantum Yule tree. So we're taking the foundation of what has come before us in generations past and then bringing it into the planetary emergence, into galactic citizenship. And this is in partnership with creation's primal rays on Christ Mass Eve. And this is a beautiful image of a galactic Christmas tree. So for those of you that know that you are starborns, right, and you came here as star walkers, this is what it looks like, right, when we look up into the heavens above us. So thank you so much, right, for agreeing to be with, to sit with, and allow me to orate with these images, like I said, this structure. And so now you can let that just permeate through your being. And let it travel in an intuitive fashion. So whatever might have really caught your attention, just stay with that as your focus, because I'll share a little bit more about my personal journey and why I've been called now to bring this all together in a very creative fashion. So my background truly is as a shamanic midwife, as Mary Magdalene also called herself. And we began really bringing in these royal frameworks into the grid system of the planet around, excuse me, fall equinox 2011. So if you can feel into 13 years of nonstop shamanic ceremony with the whole planet on these 8 solar gates. And of course, the winter solstice and the medicine wheel is in the direction of the north. Summer solstice, of course, is in the direction of the south. Springtime, the equinoxes is in the east and the west. And so this moment when the sacred feminine power on the planet is at its peak, because the nights are long and we're in that external darkness. And the divine mother of the cosmos and the planet is in her peak phase of fertility. She conceives, of course, her son born. And it's that sun god aspect that's represented in so many of the ancient traditions. So by the time Yeshua came along, right, in the sacred tradition, he was keeping company with many of the other sacred cosmologies of cultures that have come before Christianity. And so as an Essene mystic and as a Christian mystic, I'm a blend or a very eclectic confluence of all these different lineages and all these different mystery schools. Excuse me. And the ultimate emergence is this metamorphosis of this 12-sphere original tree of life as it blossoms and blooms inside of each and every one of us, and also within the body of the whole planet, which ignites that actual ascension cycle that we call the tree of grace within the arc of grace. So if you can imagine 13 years of installing this arc of grace, interstellar technology, even before we have this experience together today in this participatory circle. So wherever you are on the planet, go back to that image where there was that central fire. And wherever you're tuning in from, like for myself, I live in the mountains of Southern California around a beautiful place called Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear. Feel that we're all one, and that each of you has that seat around this ring of light, and that it's also around that Yule tree. And when people brought in their Christmas trees, they often literally cut them on Christmas Eve. So they would be out in the forest cutting down the tree and taking it into their house this night. And a lot of them, of course, would literally attach candles to the tips of the branches, not electrical lights. And they would light all those candles when it was completely decorated. And they would do it all as a traditional festive honoring of this world tree in, say a couple of hours. And then they would accompany it with the lighting and the eating of the Yule log as well. So that's the symbology of nourishment and sustenance. So this nourishment that's coming to you tonight is not a physical Yule log, it's an energetic Yule log that you're taking in this nourishment, this liquid light, as a gift from this galactic Yule tree that will be lighting itself up, not with candles, except, flashing Partakai units of those adamantian frequencies that are the foundation of spirit's progression into matter, right? The movement from the essence of light into the physicalization of the light within you. And that is the greatest gift, this full embodied ensoulment. So this is the acknowledgement of the original prophecies, and you sitting in your seat tonight is also a fulfillment of this prophecy that humanity would eventually be ready to take this ascending exploratory route of what it means to whole, this massive 12-sphere original tree of life from primordial origins and personalize it to a romance with the god or the goddess within you. And so it's a holographic field, and the one is in the whole and the whole is in the one. And so every human being at some point is designed to have this love affair. And those of you that are here this Christmas Eve of 2024, are a part of this earlier wave, this origination, become more and more recognized in the decades to come. As it catches on, right, with more and more initiates, as we say, that have tasted its nectars for themselves. So when I had those near-death experiences, I was physically taken inside of this 12-sphere tree of life as my, what shall you say, my travel guide through the different stargates back to source origins, where I had a very intimate conversation, right, with our primordial parents, shall we say. And in some sense, I brought this back with me, right, when I was just 4 years old. So I've had quite a few years of experience before then being a conduit for all of you. So this is part of that agreement that I made with Mother, Father Origins in returning from the other side. Was to introduce this to many, many more souls. Willing participants that are innovative and creative enough to think outside of the more traditional structures that have been taught, which in all of my near-death experiences were just simply proven to me as incomplete. And with these other elements, I could see in this very exquisite, multi-dimensional, jaw-dropping, just phenomenal. Lattices of light. Then I saw the destined heritage of this whole planet. So I got hired to then bring this back to the whole planet. And to repair, the fractures or the short circuits in her planetary body, all these years. So literally all of this is already ignited underneath your feet. Before we now start bringing it right to more of our brothers and sisters. So that's my pathway of integrity, the pristine, direct experience. When I was on the other side, and being asked to infuse that into my own human biotemple, for many years on end, and then acting as a galvanizing presence, a catalyzing presence, then for its continued infusion into the body of our whole planet. So in all candid honesty, while Ashiana was bringing in, right, her dissemination of this commitment, we were in and on parallel tracks. So I was partnering with her, but just in a different way, in a different way. She's very brilliant, right? In all of her just incredible renderings, right, of the more sophisticated forms and structures. Chelontic science. And mine was more of a tantric process with all of the natural world. More of that Lady Grace aspect, and also the Divine Mother. And I always remember, of course, that she is partnered with her divine counterpart. So for me to say the Divine Mother, excuse me, it's also simultaneously including her beloved, which are referred to as those aeonic twins. And so, as I traveled through those 12 stargates, you're picking up a lot of speed, shall we say, of velocities of eternity. So I traveled, through 13th, 14th, 15th dimension, into incredibly high numbers, which don't translate right to a human brain. Because all of that, the barakianta disappears into, of course, indescribable. Surrender. But the balakti shantata in my return to the homelands. So through your bodies, this holy day, you are welcomed into this embrace. Bringing heaven to this earth through your body. We have saying, I am light and light I shall remain, and I consciously choose to bring my light to this earth through my body. So that's what that means. We're literally pulling homeland, right? Through these vessels, through these vehicles, and pouring it into the entire mycelial network, and the layers and layers of the crystalline inner earth civilizations, which recognize the signal, of course, instantaneously. And then that communicates to Mother, Father Earth, as I refer to it as Gaia and the Green Man, that we the people living on the surface are prepared to go through this transformation, transfiguration, and metamorphosis. So it's a communication cycle of that sonar wave, right? Because these are scalar waves. And it's heralding our readiness to take an active part of midwifing, of course, the entire planet through this unprecedented threshold. And for those of you that are curious about that language, my name is the Speaking Tree of Life for Gaia, so I speak Gaian, or the ancient mother tongue. So that doesn't go through your left brain. And you pull your ears down to your heart and it speaks, right, to that ancient heart and soul inside of you. So I use it interchangeably, just like that right brain, left brain, balancing into the whole brain state. So that means you're here by divine appointment. So good to see you again. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you light a candle for yourself if you don't already have one. And I love getting candles that have, right, the two flames, because for me, right, the mother, father flame. And feel free to go grab a blanket, right? Something that kind of like lets you feel completely immersed and completely surrounded by something soft and warm and cuddly. Or you could maybe grab pillows or cushions or yoga mats, because at this point some of you might want to lay down and assume, right, the shavasana pose as we do so, right, at the end of our yogic practice, because this is original Tree of Life yoga. And I giggle and I laugh because it can be a lot of energy. And so for some of you, it's more conducive for you to be laying down and not trying to sit in your chair. So I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere. And you don't need to see me with your eyes, right? It's vocally guided. I'm not going to do a PowerPoint, right, and walk you through this. It's no longer going to be external images. It's going to be poetry and sequences of light intelligence that will specifically pinpoint and speak to these dormant or latent maps inside of you. So that means it's indwelling inside of each and every one of us. So that means you are your own Christmas present. You get to unwrap a part of yourself today. For the families that often let the kids open up, one gift, like on the first day of Hanukkah, right? One Christmas gift. Or over in Africa, they have the other tradition that they do. Oh, what's it called? Well, the multicultural inclusion, right? Not just the prevalent American holiday. And as you settle in, right, kind of wiggle your toes and stretch your arms and just yawn if you need to a couple times. Right, signaling your body to let go and relax. I'm not going to do it on camera. Oh, yes. So good, right? And then breathing into your heart and then allowing that heart breath to descend also down beneath your navel to that center of gravity point, also known as, right, the chalice grail. Those of you that are part of the Grail lineages, welcome home. Those of you that are part of the original Phoenix and Dragon lineages, welcome home. Those of you that are a part of the Rose line and the Lotus lines, welcome home. And those of you that are also guardians for this original tree of life, tree of love, tree of grace, welcome home. We are a part of the 777,000 guardians, the original arc of grace. Welcome back. Good to be with you again. Je suis contente de te laisser te rencontrer. Si, tateye. Unlike the Native Americans with all sacred ceremonies, please drop your regular human clothes for the 444,000 masters, angels, or you might call them spirit teachers, or you might refer to them as guides, or you may refer to them as octaves of your own oversoul that accompany us. And just feel that going into the sacred refiner's fire, the fearless flame, because what it means is you're agreeing to surrender your human identity, at least for this journey. Letting go of that personality aspect. And dropping the more external accoutrements of your societal conditioning. And use your creative imagination to envision or picture what would a garment for receiving the Kathara grid of your source covenant look like for you. This, of course, is referencing those pre-birth planning source covenants. And this isn't necessarily your pre-birth planning for this incarnation or this timeline. The source covenant is that original seed of intention, heart seed, that brought you into physicality in the first place, the dharmic seed. So this constitutes a promise that you made to your own eternal soul or divine essence. that would initiate you into these journeys here on Terra, Gaia, and ultimately into her higher name of Aramatena. And if any of you are already connected with more of your spirit names, feel that composing this exquisite garment of light all around you, all about you, and all throughout you, shimmering, solstice, shine, season of light, shining radiance, so that your body is literally, right, fluctuating as if you had spiritual sequins all over you, and it's refracting in the sunlight or the moonlight. We call it your gem body, your diamond body, your diamond sun body, any of the above. And you feel the solidarity of all the work that's been done inside of this 12-sphere tree of life grid that permeates the entire biosphere. As this remarkable multi-dimensional framework that's laced throughout the body of the internal spheres of the planet, ultimately her stargates. You too have stargates inside of your own body. Planet has stargates inside of its own body, right? As within, so without. So this is the restoration of these original stargates of grace. And as this luminosity travels all throughout your body, head to toe, right? It's also caressing you. In France, they call it effleurage. So it's the effleurage of this warmth, of this light, and also the compassion and the tenderness of this light flowing through you for the Baltarian Tatanash, Tian Kuntanash, all that you have experienced here on this planet, given the extensive programs of polarity or duality that the species has been experiencing for quite a long duration. Koshitian Tataras, light has empathy. Koritian Tatalaishente, and this light has intimacy. A direct soul recognition with you. And as that charge begins to build inside of your body, you can begin to feel, right, that cocoon of your auras beginning to load and also charge up. So feel the first layer of the aura to seal, heal, and repair. Second layer of the auric, right, cocoon, seal, heal, and repair. Third level, fourth level, fifth level, sixth level, seventh level, eighth level, ninth level, 10th level and 12th level of your auric field seal, heal, and repair. And with that, just let yourself exhale, right? Sound, let it go. Ah. Or whatever sound your body needs to make of the release, the discharge. Ah, right? It's a palpable feeling, okay, that you are now in this luminosity of a charged, replenished, and refueled auric fields. Ah, yumminess may feel delicious. What it really does is calms down your entire nervous system, right? So you can begin to feel more of that serenity. And the softening. And as your body begins to soften, feel these incredible emissaries and luminaries of the Kathara grids and the crystal spiral, that cosmic Christ and Christa consciousness, both its masculine and feminine scalar waves, come in and also smooth over your entire body with the warmth of the light of 10,000 internal suns. In the nights of external darkness, we pay attention to that internal great central sun, and it's burning away any and all armor, right? Body armor that you might have developed as a survival or coping mechanism in these old duality or polarity structures. So it's really creating the safety for your body to truly accept and receive and allow perhaps something completely brand new. And sometimes when our bodies connect with an extremely high frequency of light that it's not familiar with, right? At first it can be like, whoa, what is this, right? So there's the reassurance in this cradling, in this embracing of this purification process, that everything is gently opened and prepared to receive. It's the equivalent of like a multi-dimensional massage. Que con pantera que asisianto te shitiantantanash. We lovingly refer to it as the cosmic vacuum. So anything that is ready to release permanently, it can just be recycled in the cosmic vacuum being provided at the base of your feet. And then feel that sweetness for those of you that are laying down, right at that point of contact with the earth below us. And we all know that the Schumann resonance has been rising. And so feel that humming vibration of the earth beneath you. The hum of the one. And feel this unconditional love that Gaia Sophia has for you. In the fullness of your totality of expression. Osotor la laia tatayush. We just had the 1212 Stargate, right? Not but a few days ago. So all that energy of the universal solstice is also partnering, right, with the winter Yule, and now entering into the Christmas season of light, the Hanukkah season of light. And for this year, Christmas and Hanukkah starts on December 25th. It's pretty rare. So even those calendars are syncing up of these two different beautiful traditions. And so let yourself also feel your elemental bodies, feel your earth connecting with the earth of the planet, feel your water connecting with the waters of the planet, feel your fire connecting with the fires of the planet, feel your air connecting with the air of the planet, and feel your ether or your fifth element or your quintessence or your spirit molecule, also connecting with the spirit molecule of the earth. Karateina shishia kontanash. For those of you that have heard of the term entelechy, that nature has those morphogenetic field blueprints, like the acorn that knows it's going to become an oak tree. Feel that entelechy also within the quintessence, within the fifth element of your body. Body elemental divine blueprint. And that this is how the planet recognizes and speaks and communicates with you. So this is why I have, right, a picture of the Rockies behind me. And you choose wherever your power spot is on the earth. And wherever you are, take yourself into some natural sanctuary now, where you can still stay warm and still stay cozy and still stay extremely comfortable. And feel that in this power spot, because conscious knows that this is your safe space, selected space, chosen space, there is a temple waiting there for you. So you get to go back to your favorite nature spot, and surprise, surprise, there is an etheric temple of light that has been prepared for you. And you get to walk inside that temple with your Source Covenant clothing, robes, truly, not clothing, on. And entering into that altar space. Whatever that altar looks like for you. Custom designed with the symbology and the objects, the sacred objects, and also your beloveds in the realms of light. Shall we say your infinite sponsors? To see you come into this embodied fulfillment of your wholeness. That is the elegance of the mathematics and the geometry and the physics. This 12 sphere tree of life is, it communicates wholeness again and again and again on every level of its simplicity, with that triveka and its astounding complexities, which is the morphogenetic unified field of the entire universe. And feel this altar is custom designed for you, giving you all of those meaningful cues, signals, and catalysts in your own language of imagery and association. And it's unique to each and every one of you. So this altar is custom tailored to what signifies sacred space for you. And bow in gratitude inside of yourself for this externalization of this altar that now lights up in these original rays of creation, emanating from those 12 spheres, and they are pouring through that entire altar, which then allows it to migrate and inhabit and fill up inside of you. That through these rays of creation, you, your inner body, your inner landscape becomes the primary altar. So call upon the high priest in you, call upon the high priestess in you. This is language that makes perfect sense to those dimensions, those archetypal expressions. The sage, the mage, the magus, the medicine woman, the medicine man. You know this territory well. And feel the acknowledgement of the mastery of this external temple and this external altar of divine light also is completely internalized inside of you. This is the fertile soil in which the tree, right, can come down into. And allow it to gel and come into that coalescing. The Varakiana Nanai Shetitiana of all of your divine pieces and parts. Finding their right and perfect spots with each other. And adjusting anything internally that your internal divine wisdom knows as an optimal arrangement. And patterning. Making any internal repairs that are needed and required. Your internal light construction crew. Bringing that internal fabric of all of your divine pieces and parts into continuity. The wave and the particle, partnering together. Like partners in a physical relationship. This is the quantum relationship. Parkia Santataishite. Mandadishiki kankontash. And now open up your feet chakras and feel those spinning wheels on the base of your feet and go all the way down into that iron crystal core of Gaia Sophia and feel that first point beneath you. Feel her heartbeat. Feel the drum of the rhythm. And some of you might even hear, right, some of your star ancestors now coming in and drumming for you in the heavens above. Combatiantoshi arakiararas. And calling in above this temple all of your star grandmothers and all of your star grandfathers that have traveled with you across the ages as you tune into the heartbeat of Gaia Sophia. All attuned and in tune. And on that same heartbeat pulse, feel the energy rising up from the inside of the planet to your root. The yoni for the women and the prostate for the men. And feel this whole area infusing with spinning spirals of quantum light. You are being invited to join with these sacred geometries that are already embedded inside of the heart womb of the whole planet itself. And because it's holographic, each point is also contained within the entirety of all 12 spheres. And that allows it to continue to travel and rise up into the ovaries for the women and the urethras for the men. Because there is this innate biointelligence that already knows these pathways. And I am simply an external vocalization of this internal knowing that lives deep inside of you. And as points, spheres, vortices 1 and 2 and 3 ignite, the 4th moves up underneath the navel point. And so through those urethras and through those ovaries, going back together into a single point above it, points 3 and 4, vortexes 3 and 4 ascending, fifth sphere activating underneath the navel, and also imagining that there's always that spiritual umbilical cord to the Divine Mother herself. So you come into this body through your human mom, and each and every one of us is still that divine child of Universal Mother. So you may feel, right, like a rainbow extension going up out of your navel, Jama. And so much of this is about realizing that we are both human and angel, angelic humans, a hybridization of heaven and earth. And so the next two spheres are actually your wing points, but they're deep inside of your shoulder blades on the right and left side. And if you feel so inspired, right, as these spheres open and activate, you may feel like on the exhale, right, you spread your wings. And being able to not just breathe with your lungs, feel that heart energy moving through the lungs, but also now moving, right, that breath of life through your wings. This is why Mama Isis is so adored, or the Native American thunderbirds, all the beautiful winged ones that remind us that we are also angelic and also human together. The Kathara grid is the language of the angelic humans, right? Part of the homeland. And then feel, of course, as that wing continues to expand out, flutter, it goes all the way up to the high heart or the thalamus. And there is this celebration taking place inside of you as these quadrants are reactivated as the manifestation of the altar already inside of your body. The 12 sphere tree of life grid is that source spiral altar inside of your body. And so it continues to ascend and rise, balanced, right, on both the right sides and the left sides, behind your ears, but technically inside, right? Those inner cervical spaces, kind of on either side of the medulla oblongata, mouth of God. Ke kumbandashi shetiato ratahite. And then it continues to rise up into that pineal gland. Ngishumvatatianash, opening up those amritas, the nectars. Bringing the breath of life now with the waters of life, with the nectars of that liquid light. So some of you may even feel, right, your foreheads or your crowns being anointed, right, with the sacred vial going in to that 11th point. 9th and 10th, of course, was behind the ears. 8th was the high heart. And see that beautiful blue Christ code from the images and the word doc, and feel that whole artwork pour also into your pituitary and pineal glands together. They partner. It's like the alpha and the omega, the aleph and the tav. And then feel it continuing to ascend and rise up 6 inches above your head to that 10th chakra, rising above the soul star above your head, holding that 12th point. De comparquis quisques os oros otonus. De sisianto tekrakia sisia. And this is so that your body feels included as we continue to travel. So these 12 gateways are always talking, right, through your innate body intelligence. What's that somatic wisdom? Nishkumbandashiante kiasataras. And now bring your attention all the way back down to the first sphere. And feel the beauty now of the correlation force of the original 12 strands of your DNA and their fire letters and the sacred mirror. Those 12 strands and their mutual reflections in that holographic reflection. And as you feel these 12 spheres communicating with each other, consciously, deliberately, actively, feel a lacing also of 1D, and 2D, sacredness of the inner earth and of all of the telluric powers and telos, with all of the beloved positive, high frequency beings here that reside in their more crystalline form, golden light form, and our avatars. So many levels of 1D and 2D in the telluric realms are extremely awake. Humanity has a lot to learn from these as it rises up to the third dimension and traveling through the fourth, right? Like a water snake, rippling through the fifth and the sixth, and the seventh, and the eighth, and the ninth, the 10th, and the 11th, and the 12th dimension. And feeling through your central channel, the access mundi, the pranic tube, the sushumna, that there's always that through line, the trunk of the tree, for all of these 12 dimensions to find their reconnective tissues with each other inside of you, harmonizations, the balancings. And this is why it's so beautiful to experience this right after 12/12 Stargate every December 12th on the feast day of Guadalupe. And that 12-sided star tetrahedron, the 12 tribes, and on and on and on and on. And for those of you that are familiar with the star altars of creation, feeling that 1111 Stargate, supporting the 12/12 Stargate. Now, as we allow the hinges of creation to open, and you can begin ascending up those stairways of light into the 1313, 1414, and 1515 stargates. Your guides, the Anasazi, star ancestors. You may have known them from their civilizations at Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. So your star ancestors are here, guiding you through these passages of photonic light, supernal light, Bershomvandeskiskiske, and the Anasazi spoke the Anuhazi language. So obviously, as you're moving through these 1313, 1414, and 1515, right, pathways, they are speaking to you, right, in the different star languages. That's like the lullaby to your divine child's heart. Like, oh, right? The songs of my homeland. What the Aboriginal star ancestors, right, call the song lines into the cosmic walkabout. Beshumva didishiti shuntatatiatanas. So like the Aborigines will, escort people on their walkabout. Feel your escorts here for you as well. We wouldn't leave you to navigate it by yourself. So feel all this support coming in. Surrounding you. And the ceiling of your temple opening up. Because you even may start seeing, right, the glyphs of Stargate coordinates as you enter into the 1313, 1414, and 1515 passageways or wormholes. As I experienced them, each Stargate took me straight into another wormhole. So it was quite the ride. Some of you may remember some of those scenes in Contact with Jodie Foster. So again, the passage is unique for each and every one of us. There's not one universal formation that it takes as a representation of these quantum leaps in consciousness. Allow your imagineering of your quantum creativity to give you permission, give yourself permission to dream, even if you can't see anything. What do you dream it might look like and feel like? Dream the dream again with all of this loving support, activating all of those creative juices and all of your neurotransmitters and your dendrites all being washed, right? All of your brain circuitry being washed with also this liquid light, cleaning it out, like taking a crystalline bath in there. So if you're already a highly creative person, experiencing even higher octaves of your own creativity as they continue to wash and bathe your neuroplasticity, growing more holographic neurotransmitters, more holographic dendrites, opening up more of your holographic consciousness. Because of course, each octave becomes increasingly more holographic and multidimensional. And yet your body is always being held and cradled by the planet's eternal tree of life and the same scaffolding of the infinite tree of life within your bio-spiritual circuitry. It's not just the 12 spheres. There's many, many, many fractals of light now growing inside of you. Woo-hoo. Many more connection points many more intersections, many more fractals. De kombarai sisia kotanas. And now, if it feels appropriate, since I have been a pioneer on this pathway, allow the experience of the fractals within my RNA to speak to your RNA. As the DNA divides in cellular mitosis, right? The strands separate and they prepare for that creation of that next stage of encryption. Okay. We call it feel the sheaths of light opening up on those DNA strands, right? As they separate. So as the RNA comes in, right, to transcribe that next DNA strand, it's reading from more of those codes and it's reading from more of those fire letters. So that means that your body is now generating cells that are carrying a lot more light in that mitochondria. And in the cell membrane, not just the nucleus. So the nucleus and the mitochondria and the cell membrane, they're all starting to glow because the next emanation of the DNA is coming from the highly activated holographic language of multidimensional light coming through the RNA from the original tree of life and love and grace. And as this happens, some of your teams, some of your beloved avatars that you are intimately connected with, as aspects of your own oversoul, now have prepared an elixir, like a toast. Drink to your primordial health and well-being and wellness inside of this crystal spiral and Kathara grid. So drink that in, the effervescence of it. It's very light and delicate. See if you can taste any of the substance of the flavor. It might feel bubbly, kind of like a magic love potion. The love is with yourself. It's a magic love potion of self-love being poured into your mouth, right? And going underneath your tongue and also on the roof of the mouth. So, don't necessarily drink it right away. Let it stay underneath your tongue and also on the roof of your mouth. Let it travel through all those spaces. So as certain dimensions of you are exploring your creativity and your imagination with the 1313, 1414, and 1515 stargates, passages, wormholes. Your body is ingesting this nectar of self-love. Bortontichum bagdisha dandai ki konje titiara. Bisonta datisianana. And the number one code that the ancestors within your body actually require is to know of our human worthiness. With the self-love comes the worthiness, innate, original worthiness that is indwelling, aka original innocence, worthiness. Self-love, original innocence, worthiness. And feel that as a tri-wave. Travel on this tri-wave of self-love, original innocence, and worthiness. As the scalar wave of the Divine Mother and the Divine Father and the Divine Child. And feel that Trinity begin to gain momentum as the 12 strands begin to fractalize through the 12 dimensions and the 144 strands start to really braid and weave back together again as you travel even further to your origins point, the inception of your consciousness. The indigenous people referred to this place as the womb at the center of the universe. Many indigenous people from many populations around the planet that will have the same cosmology of the original womb at the center of the universe. Which is Mother's point of power. When winter solstice comes into its peak, she is in that primordial state of her highest fertility, where she's constantly in that space of that vibrational, immaculate conception of conceiving new manifestations of divinity that then manifests as more physicalizations of love, the intelligence of love, the innovation of love, the creativity of love, the brilliance of love. And in this particular point, of emanation, you, with the ongoing moment of creation inside of the womb at the center of the universe, ask to be given all of the fire, light, source, light codes of your original source covenant that you made with yourself and with source at the inception of your being. And this may come to you in your dreams, not necessarily in this meditation, Your star ancestors may whisper it into your consciousness as your body is dreaming, and you may wake up in the morning with more of a recollection. For some of you, you may see that fabric of light, which is like ribbons of light, and the original encryption of the light, which is the purity of your original source connection and the purity of your original set of instructions. Deixam pantas que hoje de titia tatalash. So this is the sweetness, the honey, and we're so grateful, we're so appreciative of this base 12 encryption fractal source spiral. It allows these conduits to be so pure and pristine, impeccable, pure and pristine. So nothing, right, else other than the purity and perfection can reside at these frequency levels. And again, as you give yourself permission to receive this, because the ancestors in your body, intelligence, know that you're already worthy, you can let yourself receive this. To the little child inside, it means that you already deserve this. It's a gift with your name on it. The womb at the center of the universe. It's always been held in pure and pristine and impeccable pattern of perfection, as we say in other traditions, or the I am of your being. And because the nature of human evolution is to allow these extremely high frequencies of light to embody, this source covenant, Amrita, can now travel. The ascending circuitry is also the descending circuitry, or the inscending circuitry. So it ascends and then it descends and then it inscends. Circuitry is ascending, circuitry is descending, circuitry is inscending. The in-breath, the out-breath, the circulation and the still point. Ascending, the descending, and the inscending. And this is a lot of territory through all of those gateways and through all of those dimensions. And yet it is so easy and so effortless and so natural for you because of the pure and pristine and impeccable structures of this Kathara grid guiding it. Ascending, descending, inscending, inscension. And then feel that Trinity Move into that tri-wave and literally place your body inside of that, right? Triveka. And you're in the very center of these three circles, these three spheres, the intersection of this tri-wave, the intersection of these scalar waves. It's just a reminder for your body that you're the apex where it all comes together, even in the most simplest of the Partikai units, what we call a base foundation encryption. And we give thanks to the Anasazi Star Nation ancestors and their Anahazi language. And that all of these luminous light star codes can literally like travel into your body, similar to the petroglyphs that you've seen that our star ancestors left in the caves. It can be painting encryptions on your body, star codes, star letters. And then your body absorbs and receives them. Kind of like beautiful Japanese calligraphy, but from your star ancestors, writing those star languages all over your body. And it's okay if you can't see this. This is where you get to trust and also have beauty of that leap of faith that you're receiving regardless. It's equally shared with everyone just by occupying your seat here. And as this beautiful galactic star calligraphy is painted onto your body, that allows that source covenant to land right here. And as it lands, as it registers, like the eagle has landed, give your body a hug and appreciate your body at a whole other level of divine perfection, because this is the corporealization of this divinization of your body. Yes, the corporealization of the divinization of your body. Without your body, none of this could happen with the planet. So your body vessel is the robe that Gaia Sophia gifted you with. And it's made up of all of these, right, elemental recipes. The fabric of the planet literally created the vessel that you reside in. So all these different light bodies, right, now have the landing pad of the coordinates of this exquisite multi-dimensional infrastructure that can now accommodate and synthesize or alchemize all these different light bodies that you are into one unified presence within you. quite the gift. And since these are referred to as the holy days of light, by no means is this required to integrate in just one day. So rest assured, this can be a progressive experience for you of each and every sunrise and each and every sunset, right? More of these light bodies can just click, 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 and drop in as you so allow, at your own pace and at your own rhythm. That's why the yoga kriyas, right? Minimum of 28 to 40 days. So with that said, there's no rush. And you can give gratitude for this miracle, because it is the technology of miracles that this sequence has begun inside of you. And we have deep appreciation for all of the support that makes this possible, because it is 2024. And the dissolving of the old structures that we are literally going to be seeing and experiencing in 2025 on a global scale, then shows the relevancy of why you're experiencing this in what we would call the year of 2024, right? So that it can gain momentum. In your infrastructure, human body infrastructure for this 2025 Gregorian cycle. Of course, they've reset the calendar and reset the calendar again and again and again. So I'm not saying that it is accurate. However, it is a progression that all of us on the planet, right, can recognize. I myself took years to integrate all this. You don't have to. However, the pioneers that have gone before you, right, took my body literally years to figure out where this all goes. In the spaces between my cells, it wasn't necessarily just in my cell structures. So as it begins to congeal, open up the spaces, ooh la la, right, between the cells of your body, so it can swim on in there. And simultaneously, you might be able to also communicate with the other star nations that have had access to the Kathara grids for millions and millions of years. And now they are ever so pleased to assist us in accommodating this original natural pattern for those that are awakening on this planet. And in this time-space coordinate. And the stronger that this eternal tree of life grows inside of you, the more you vibrate at the frequency of the Arc of Grace timeline. That's why the 777,000 are the guardians of the original Arc of Grace, because it is an Arc of Grace timeline. And that's when you see the dissolution of all of these, right, old structures that were built around, of course, the archaic abuses of power. And now in this source covenant, Kathara grid infusion, you are now living as a part of the solution of our graduation. As James O.D. said, hospice of the old and midwives of the new, which is why they refer to me as the oracular spiritual midwife. Pleasure to support you with your birthing process. And feel that quantum body has infinite room for all the light bodies to continue to flow in with infinite space, infinite room, infinite space between the cells of your body. And again, my 5 walk-ins, which are really quantum leaps from the future, where this is already manifesting throughout the entire earth in large numbers of the population. So yes, I traveled from the quantum future, where this is already fully self-actualized for many of the residents. So you can feel the impeccability of my dedication and devotion to be a witness with you and for you in your birthing process, because you would have already agreed to this even before you entered your human mother's womb to be with me. December 24th, 2024, 12/24/24. That's your numeric code, 12/24/24, 12.24.24. This all rushes in and blesses you from you. It's the multidimensional love of you, in you, as you, through you, for you. The totality now bearing witness to the metamorphosis into the human divine. And because there is ample room and space in multiple contexts of those words for you to allow this to register at its own natural rate and pace and intuitive progression, you can now begin to bring yourself back to this particular present moment, feeling the breath go down your throat and filling up your lungs, filling up all of those alveoli that bring all that rich oxygen through the alveoli and into the capillaries. Bringing this breath all the way into your circulatory system, your blood system. And this breath is, of course, infused with all of those light particles. So it's continuing to breathe in the breath of life. Which all of the avatars are very seasoned as they go into still point. And they can physically stop breathing for a very long time, but they're still circulating the breath of life through their whole body. Can't remember how long some of the yogis, right, have been recorded that they go into still point where they're not externally breathing, but they're breathing the breath of life internally. So feeling that rich oxygenation of life and light. Feel it moving the literal crystal molecules into your blood cells. Now feeling the rich crystalline blood. That's part of the future of the human race. Crystals are literally going to start showing up in your blood. And for some of us, it's already started. Crystals in our blood that you can see on a microscope, right? So it's scientifically visible, which is a beautiful thing. Moving into, more of the crystalline body, literally. And now breathe all the way into your tailbone, right? Ooh, yeah. Into the coccyx. Underneath your lumbar spine, going all the way down that tailbone. Anchoring that all the way down into feeling the profundity of this nature power spot, just giving you a huge hug of congratulations. Washi, meaning me, your guide, physically takes you on one form of a journey. Of course, you have been led on many other journeys, unspoken, right, with external language. So when they say, congratulations, my child, they truly mean it. They meaning all of your fans in the spirit world that are bearing witness to this celebration. And for me, it's also a homecoming because for many, many years, I was out hiking into Timbuktu in these, high, beautiful, but very remote mountain ranges. And, bringing in 3 medicine wheels for this to come down into the body of the planet for hours and hours and days. And like most people didn't even know where I went. I just kind of, disappeared right into wherever I was sent. And my human mother just always trusted that I would come back from my excursions. So that now, years later, right, I can be a resource and a guide for you. So literally hundreds of hours alone in the woods, in these incredibly gorgeous and yet really isolated, what we would call raw nature. Where not a lot of humans have, set foot on that ground. And trusting, that I was being directed and led, and went through that rewilding process with this eternal tree of life that has gone through its galvanization within you. So that's what that tailbone, right, connects you to, that wildness, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. And feel that breath moving down from your tailbone, down your legs, through your knees, through your ankles, through your heels, right? Through all your 10 toes, and the spaces between your toes. And your legs just, right, filling up with full kinesthetic awareness. And the legs sending that echo, I am here. So the whole planet, and also the planet echoing back, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for being willing to experience from your interstellar and intergalactic family something that is extremely common for us, not so well known right now on the planet down here. Which is why in that Word doc, Lisa Renee walk in, Ashiana Dean walk in, Dr. Jerry Rivera walk in. So, right now a lot of walk-ins are familiar with this. It doesn't need to be that way though. They just kind of, get the ball started. So that's why the planet is saying thank you for your receptivity. And now, if you want to turn on your side, if you're laying down, some people might have, stayed to stay in their chairs, but they went reclining in the chairs and bundled up in blankets, so whatever that more gentle return on, your side where you go into fetal position. If you can, take your knees into your chest, stretch out that lower back. Wiggle your whole body. Feel, right? All those little muscles. Say hi. Wow. This is just the beginning. The art is to simplify this. However, your capacity to explore its infinite complexities is an open-ended invitation. We start out very simple so that it's accessible, so that it's available, and yet its maturation process can open up new mysteries because it gets elegantly sophisticated very quickly. Bashonda vakdash aishi kiskiskesh. Bedo da valalaina. And then out of that fetal position, right? Or out of bringing the knees up towards the heart, then coming back up if you want to. A seated position, or coming up to a cross-legged position, or even coming up to, right, standing, whichever you prefer. Dovaktiara kia santanash. And just keep sending that message to the planet. I am here. as a proclamation, feeling and hearing those words in a completely different context, kind of like a dictionary, right? That has all these different definitions. Now, when you're saying, I am here, that means that you literally opened up your human bioform to many more levels of your multidimensionality. And so the I am that is here is infinitely more intricately woven between your spirit and your matter. That great, beautiful marriage. Ta-da! And the application process is just allowing yourself to have a lot of unstructured time in nature. Nature is already vibrating naturally in these oscillations. So that means silence out in nature. So yes, you can bring, music along, but at some point, right, take a breather and, turn off the music and just go into silence. In a nice quiet little spot, or along a river, or, wherever you're so guided. And in the silence, ask for this entire experience to just open up more pure love inside of your body. What's the application? What's this all for? It's the somatic embodiment of that pure love inside of yourself. And as Oracle Girl says, bringing more pure love to this whole planet through yourself. So these pathways are supportive of bringing more of that physicalization of the substance of love inside of the flesh of our bodies, and being able to handle the higher frequencies of light that we are in our humanity. Cosmic human, angelic human, galactic human, all these different names. Homo spiritus, sapien divinus, Homo luminous, you name it. Our species is awakening. And I thank you for being a forerunner in this process. And when you're out in nature, in the silence, have fun with it. Open up to the element of play. And whatever that looks like for you, For me, I used to dance out in the woods. The saying, dance like nobody's watching. But for others, it may be another form of creativity, play. Gosh, you could be out horseback riding and playing with these fields of consciousness, or swimming with the dolphins, or, whatever. Play, 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 play. And I thank you for being so available. I have traveled long and far to bring this back, and so to share this at the end of 2024 is very special for me personally, because I have seen the visions of where this is going in 2025 and 2026. So for me, there's that childlike exhilaration of like, it's time for it to grow and nourish more of us. So thank you for receiving this nourishment. And you can find me at Divine Union Academy, www.divineunionacademy.com. There's a little bit of information on the divineunionfoundation.org. These are landing pages. Email is Gayatri, Gayatri, at divineunionacademy.com. And I do have an Instagram account, divine.union.academy. And then I do believe on New Earth One Network's website, other interviews are available. If you've really resonated with this one, Lauren and I have done other podcasts. Probably can find that on YouTube as well if you're curious to go delving into some of those other conversations. So from the depth of my core, I bow to the eternity within you, to the infinity within you, and to the sovereignty of your soul in your body now. And may you have so much fun and so much joy and so much laughter and so much delight and so many magical moments during the rest of this blessed season. Thank you for joining with me, and to be continued in the new year. Mwah.
So shine, so shine, shine bright.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in Unity Consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.